Okay. So I get so confused about when, because I'm living in a future when, because I don't even know what day it is today. It's Tuesday. Oh, May 11th. It's Tuesday, May 11th, but I'm doing week 14 for you. And I apologize, although you won't get this apology till later, that the part three plant library, the ones where you're supposed to have all the plants like up until a certain point, from everybody's plant presentations, that I hadn't put that in the module. So they're kind of squished together. But if you've been keeping up like I tell you to do, which I know is very momish and not helpful at all, because if you have, that's great, but like only a few people do that. I'm not the kind of person that would have been doing that. So anyway, you should be keeping up. It is good. It's good to do a little bit all the time. It saves you a lot of stress and hassle having to scramble and stay up late and stress out. But do as I say and certainly not as I do. Okay, so anyway, back to week 14. So then the next week is week 15, and that's the last content I have to create. Not that I'm happy about that or anything, but my goodness, I could go back to having a life again. Anyway, and it's been great. I've enjoyed doing this, but it just takes so much time. Anyway, good thing I'm getting rich teaching as an adjunct. So I didn't bold this because I need to put this video in there. It will get bolded afterwards, but it's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to chat with you right now, Professor Canmisi. California natives. So I wanted to put this in there, and I'm really glad that we had a little bit more space in the module because I think it's so important to include California natives. They are underrepresented in our local landscapes. And really, like, we suffer for that. We suffer because we have plants from all over that have high water needs. It makes no sense here. And also, we suffer for it because we're losing a lot of our wildlife. I'm sure there are studies. I've read studies. I can't remember where right now, but that talk about the reduction in birds and insects, and that the phenology, the timing of a lot of our introduced plants does not work with our local wildlife. So if you plant natives, it really helps. It helps the pollinators, it helps the birds, it helps everything, because they're all connected. Hopefully you're kind of getting that from this class. If you haven't already gotten it before, it's an important concept. That's my little blurb about native plants and landscape, which is kind of like what I just mentioned right now. And then a growing passion, Nan Sturman, who I've come to really admire. My goodness, I'm so impressed with her and what she's doing. And I think in the future, this class will recommend her books, actually, instead of the Sunset Western Garden book, which is old. I mean, it's wonderful. If you can find a copy, buy it fast. But Nan's books are more recent, and they're wonderful. They don't have the same, they're a different intention. Sunset Western Garden book is all of the West, like west of the Rockies. But her books are really for our area. They're for San Diego and Southern California and a little further out, but she's real specific about microclimates. Like if you live in Arizona, there's a lot of things in her books that are useful, but it's not going to be as useful as if you live in San Diego or Pasadena. And she's very clear about that. And I think that it's brilliant stuff, brilliant, especially if you want to be growing things, or especially if you do landscaping here in Southern California, you really ought to check her out and find her books. And one of them, oh no, I'm going to get down to this later. But Bob Perry is our plant person to know. He's been, singing the praises of native plants since the 80s. His books are cheap right now, like $5 for this beautiful, big hardcover book with wonderful pictures. So if you can find one of his books, buy those now. They're just great books to have in your library. I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on. So that's what we got going. We got Nan Sturman, and please, it's like 20 minutes. And I will admit that there's a little Quizling here. And for those of you that listen, which may be 2 of you, I think, I put in a little like niblet of extra credit in one of the videos from last week. And I said, if you email me this, then you can get some extra credit. And two people emailed. So for those 2 of you, I'm just going to tell you, the information for most of this quiz is like the last 3 minutes or 4 minutes where Nan goes into her own garden and plants natives. And I thought that was super useful, and I wanted you to see it, and that's where I got the quiz questions from. So If you get to this quiz and you're like, oh, I wonder where, I don't remember seeing that. Probably you didn't watch till the end, but now you know. But I recommend watching the whole thing. It's like 25 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. And it's kind of cool stuff about natives and restoration efforts and things like that. And then 2 articles from the California Native Plant Society, one on planning your native garden and the other on site and soil, because there's a lot of misconceptions about soil. And there's even some controversy. Most people say native soil, plant in native soil. That's what Nan says. And that means like the soil that's just there. Don't amend it. Just leave it as it is. However, I do have a friend who does a lot of landscaping stuff, and she says, but the soils in most of our suburban yards had all their topsoil scraped off to do the yard, and then they imported something from somewhere else to make the grass grow. So she says you probably ought to amend a little bit, or don't be so afraid of putting in a little bit of nitrogen and whatever. But just consider that they can do okay in native soils, even if it's like degraded soil from your scraped off suburban lot. But you may see healthier growth if you amend it with a little bit of good quality potting soil, or whatever they sell this amendments for improving the quality of your soil. It's not potting soil, but whatever, planting mix, that's what it is. Anyway, so but native soil is kind of the way to go. But you want to also get like real familiar with your soil so you know what's going to grow where, and that's important and wise. Then we do the first draft of the landscape project, and I meant to do this before I did the video, which I have not done yet, but I'm going to make this something where you guys critique each other's. So I'm not going to make this be 20 points where I give you points for doing things. I'm going to change this up a little bit where you get like 5 points or 10 for having this done on time. And then I will give you lots of feedback on it, so that you can use that feedback so that when you submit your final project, I'm going to be the one grading it. I'm the one planning the class, so you might disagree with my opinion, but my opinion's what's giving you the points. So anyway, if you say like, no, I feel like I was really clear about this, let's have a dialogue. Like if you don't agree with my comments about your landscape draft, please, contact me. We'll Zoom about it so I can be clear what you're thinking and that you can understand what I'm trying to say. But the point of this draft is for you to get feedback. And I'm hoping that it works, that I can set it up such that you guys can give each other peer feedback and my feedback. Because more feedback is better, I think. Also then, if you are providing feedback for each other using the rubric, then you are more familiar with the rubric that will be used to grade your project. So that's also a win-win. Then we have our final plant presentations. Oh my goodness, up to number 20, where we added a few natives. You might recall that conversation and email I sent out. Bob Perry's our plant guy. And then the last round, this is el último. You should have all 200 plants in your personal plant library. And I know for some of these plants, we had people drop the class or just not do their plant profiles. And I tried to do many of them that weren't already done. But I haven't done all of them, so you may need to do some extra ones. So be keenly aware of that, please. Also, please, I know the 2 of you that are still listening are not the ones who this is a problem with. The reason why you have points for something so nitpicky as setting it up, like putting the number and the name at the top of the file, is because there are 200 plants to look through. If you make up your own system, it just gums up the works and makes it hard for everyone to find the plants they're looking for. Like, just save it with that number and name, please. Just do it. Just do it. That's all I have to say. And I hope you're setting aside time to get everything done so you can be restful, relaxed, and calm at the end of your semester. Unlike me. Anyway, bye.